Don't assume you know entirely what's best for me. Talk to me so that you don't go out there and buy me a shirt that I don't like. Parents need to create those spaces where we can allow children to talk about how we are raising them. Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to Beyond Church World Podcast. I'm learning. My name is Mr. Cole. Always enjoy having you. And I'm on set with
Miss Kerry, baby.
the one and only
Kerry. Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Atuongelea nini leo?
Telling it as it is, but you say that would sound rude.
It will sound rude because
Yeah.
we
don't like telling it as it is.
Yeah.
Or we misunderstand that as arrogance.
In a family setting,
Yeah.
Mr. Precious.
Yes.
And you know, Mr. Cole, we talked about this in our previous video. We were like, we're coming to get deeper.
Yeah.
Man of God, can you go deeper? Go deeper.
The question we're asking is, do you have difficult conversation in your family?
Ooh.
Is the space safe enough for you to tell your family members how you feel about them, how their behavior especially negatively affects you?
Come on.
Ama sisi ni watu wa... Yeah, I'm okay. This is family.
Me,
Blood is
I've
thicker.
seen families
Yeah.
who tell it as it is,
Yeah.
but then they go for years and years without having conversations. The superpower in being able to have hard conversations as a family is to still continue with the relationship,
Friendships, yes.
even when you don't necessarily agree
Yeah.
with what has been said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one thing that families struggle with is validating how someone feels. So I tell you that, by the way, you did this, and then I start being like, no, but I didn't do that to hurt you, or I did. You start validating
Yourself.
what you did.
Yes.
And invalidating how
what I'm
somebody
saying.
else feels.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we get the point wrong. Let me use this example. It's like playing, inaitwanga bullseye.
Darts.
Throwing darts at a target. Then you're standing somewhere near. My intention is not to throw it at you, but as I throw, it ends up
In your
pricking you.
eye.
Yeah, and you're bleeding. What's the right response?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But most of the family will go like, I didn't mean to hit you.
And you're bleeding. So the first response would be, let's take care of his bleeding. Let's make the blood stop. When she's okay, I can explain. By the way, my intention was not. But if someone is bleeding and you really, really want to show us, I didn't mean to hurt her, it was not my intention, we can see that she's bleeding, and that's more important. And sometimes when you're invalidating someone else for what they are trying to say without taking into account how they are feeling, we are actually missing a point. And a lot of relationships are damaged.
Oh, so
there.
good.
Even in families. And it's so interesting. Let me for example talk about my wife. It's so interesting how a simple I understand deflates the whole issue. Because sometimes you come and let me use an example. She called me, I didn't pick, and it was something urgent, and then the next time she called me, she found my line engaged.
So you did call me back.
Yes.
But you have the audacity
To talk to someone else. And possibly maybe it was a phone call from my supervisor,
right.
And we were dealing with something very sensitive just before I could call her. And so, yes, I have a valid reason.
Look
but
at
when
my
I
eyes.
come home,
Look at her. Look at her.
It's not true story.
Okay.
But when I get home and I find her, she's all flared up, mad, wanting to offload. And the first thing I go is, I was talking to my supervisor.
What's the problem?
No. Let me tell you, something that we could have easily handled will become messy. And the next time, that trust has already been broken. And she would always feel like, it's so easy to come, listen to all the frustration and say, I am so sorry. My actions made you feel that way. It wasn't my intention, but I made you feel that way anyway, and I'm truly sorry.
But it issues.
It issues there, and then it gives you a better chance to actually harm your point.
I love the husband and wife scenario. Yes. Let's talk about mother,
and child.
or father and children. Let's talk about that.
You know, we've grown up in families where communication is in serikali ya bottom up, trickle down.
Trickle down.
Trickle down.
Hakuna bottom up.
Ikikuja hakuna bottom up.
The only thing is that your bottom will be up when you're being beaten. That is the only bottom.
Hautanyoroshwa. So, in most of our families, unfortunately, we have grown up taking instructions top down. And in many times, there's no provision for upward. There's no... So, if dad says jump, we are all in the air. There's no provision for, okay, I am not able to jump. Or,
how do you raise intellectual people if you guys can't have discourse in the house? Where are we supposed to have discourse, like in our lives? Because the people who you see, this person is so oppressed.
Yeah.
Mbako go like,
You see, Kerry.
speak for your, like, ongea. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then the worst part about this, and it actually happens more to women than men.
Yeah.
A woman who speaks out is to this, is to this, is to that.
Yes.
But a man who speaks out is confident. A man, you know, like, but this is another topic for another day. I think I don't want to digress.
Siende huko. But really, the structure of most of our families is we have not provided avenues for feedback.
Ooh.
We've not been intentional about allowing people to be in a space where they can talk about how they feel.
Right.
And many times when people are bold and confident enough to do that, most of the times it's taken as rebellion or disrespect,
So
especially when it's a parent receiving feedback.
Take us back to creating
Those spaces.
Yeah, what would that look like in a family setting? Dad
responsibility-
is 60s, mom is 50s. You have your 4 children.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
The greater responsibility of facilitating that kind of environment lies with the parent.
Okay.
The parents need to get to a space where we can allow that kind of communication. We can sit around the table and talk about ourselves. And the children can say, this is what we feel, this is how I feel about how you treat me, and so on and so forth. Now, let me tell you something interesting. In the families, parents that are raising Gen Zs, particularly, young people, the guys, especially in high school now, and a bit of universities, they are actually forcing these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
Not once, not twice, not thrice. I've been invited by parents to come and address what they are deeming as disrespect.
And to you,
My child
and
is
to
not-
you,
yes.
you're like, you're the problem.
Not even that,
How do you
it's-
even tell the parent that, baby?
It's actually when you sit with them and you hear and you're like, wow, so let's go home. And then when you sit down and hear the perspectives of the children, you see what the children are asking is, talk with us, involve us.
I have something to say.
Yes. Don't assume, hard thing to say, don't assume you know entirely what's best for me. Talk to me so that you don't go out there and buy me a shirt that I don't like. And then when I don't wear it, for example, I'm using that
You're
as an
not happy.
example.
I know.
You think I'm not appreciating that you're providing for me.
I love it.
Involve me. Talk with me.
I love it.
And so parents need to create those spaces where we can allow children to talk about how we are raising them.
So I have the privilege of working in a very amazing space. So I work for Alpha.
Yeah.
And at Alpha, we had a chance to do like research.
Yes.
And part of this research talks about 4 things that the young people all over Africa agree with.
Yeah.
Now, the first part, which is great news, of great joy, is that young people are willing to have a relationship with Jesus only if you have a relationship with them or you create avenues to make relationships with them.
Absolutely.
And this has been there. It's just
Yes.
like now maybe we needed it in a research, in the
Yes.
banner report, which you
Yes.
could all check out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
4 things that are important. Number 1, young people, they like to be heard. They must be heard. They have something to say. They have a mind and they think and they're engaged constantly online with a lot of content being thrown their way. So they have to be
And if I
heard.
would just say something
Go for
small
it.
on that, and they're not necessarily saying you must do what we are saying.
No, just listen
We just
to
want
me.
you to hear us. And the moment you give young people audience, the moment they feel like, yes, he hears us. Imagine you can make amendments to what they're saying and they'll buy into it.
I love it. Number 2, they need participation. You just don't go making decisions. For my whole life, And I feel like this was also me growing up.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't come here and make decisions for my entire life, and then you just present it to me, and then
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
please, no, immediately. Except right now, I'm willing to be hooked up. Like, if you have a man and you think he's my husband, bring him.
See me.
That's different. You're different. That's arranged marriage. It's in the Bible. It's fine. And then, other than being hard, participating, they want engagement.
Yes.
But also they have questions. And so if you don't have a relationship with them, they'll go and ask the wrong people those questions. And so really, as family, we are no longer in an era where you can just come up and just decide, I'm the parent, you're the child, I'll tell you what to do, and you'll do what I say until utoke kwangu. But if there's nothing for you, living under my roof, you're going to do what I say.
I say until utoke. Na kama utaki,
my friend, you will suffer.
Yeah.
You will suffer in pain. You will want to get rid of this child. And yet, all they need is just a place to...
where they can be heard, to offload. It's very true. And this, in a way, would help us deal with the issues we talked about in the previous video.
Right.
Because if you have made your children know, and if as a family we know, if Kerry hurts me, I can let her know. And we're not going to be enemies because they understand this is how we run our family. Someone told me, if you don't tell the people around you how negatively their behavior affects you, you open up room for them to abuse you the more. You know?
So good.
Yeah. So it's critical, it's important. We must be able to sit down and talk about our behaviors, our tendencies, without feeling like we're being attacked.
Mr. Cole, doing better for your family doesn't mean taking them to better schools and living in better houses than you did and eating sausages when you only ate ugali in the morning. No. Doing better for your children is breaking cycles and changing your mind.
Yes.
And only a fool doesn't change their mind. You can't say this is how I was brought up, so this is what is good.
How I bring you up.
No, do something different and see the results. Get a relationship, understand who your children are. There are people who will say, my son can never do that. And we're like, have you ever had a conversation with your son to know how your son thinks?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yes.
or it's always my son, or my daughter can never do this. Yet you do not know this person.
In fact,
So how do you even defend this person? You don't know what their quality, you don't know their weaknesses, you don't know their struggles. Because it's a top-down.
yeah, a kind of system. In fact, someone today, we were doing personality discussions with young people. So one of the facilitators was telling the young people, some of the reasons why your parents would remote control you is because they don't even know how you think. They don't even know your thought processes. So when they see you, they just see bad decisions, incapable of making sound choices.
Okay, God help me. Please, I don't want to be that way. You know,
And so on and so
like,
forth.
I've been there.
So then,
I have been there where you are.
This was the interesting bit. Then he asked, so he said, and that is why when you go to your parents and say, Mom, I want to go out, the first answer is, and they all shouted, no.
Because when they hear go out, the first thing that pops out of parents is sex, alcohol, drugs. That time probably you're going for a mission. As in, can we just all calm down?
Yeah.
Not everyone is as bad as you. Because some parents wao wenyewe ndio wabaya.
Yes.
Then they project that on young people.
Families
But
need
it's
to talk.
also vice versa for children.
Yes.
Get to understand, they know.
Yes.
And then the place of the hard conversation is, Mom, can I go out? No. Why can't I go out? Because it's unsafe for you and I think this and this and this.
Yeah.
But Mom, we've made these measures to cover that. Okay, that's good.
Constructive.
So you can give me a contact for the parent who's, something.
Yes. Constructive engagement. People need to talk.
Ongeni.
Start somewhere.
Just
at the dining
talk.
table. Some young people would sit at the dining table, enjoy a meal. Everybody has a plate they are eating. Nobody's talking to one another. But they take their phone, capture the food, send it on social media on their stories, say nice food. The person who made the food is there, not even aware. You've not even told them.
That's the saddest thing I've
You
had all
get
day.
into your car, go to a nice destination, you'd land at the airport, you do reels, post there and saying enjoying myself. The person who's taken you on your trip is there with you. You've not even told them. And those are opportunities we can leverage on. Start
But me,
somewhere.
I'm happy for that family that has a family vacation. Like, yay. Like, yay. You know?
Yeah,
I was talking to a friend of mine who's been married for 15 years and I asked her, but have you ever just taken your husband like for a trip?
Say, trip? What for?
She's like, I've never. I'm like, wewe ujaichanga hivi 30 bob, 20 bob, 100,
Twende
1000.
mahali.
Upeleke mzee ka holiday one day.
Yeah.
Ako like, pass away. Like things have become so,
Yeah.
we're too casual.
Yes. Casual,
But let's
familiar.
have hard conversations.
Yes,
If there are
important.
things you're struggling with, talk about them.
Yeah.
It'll be painful, it will be whatever,
But worth it.
but it's worth it.
And family is the place to start.
Yeah, because people who are toxic out here, we can't imagine how you are in your family. You can't bet you're so happy in your family, but at work you're toxic.
Started somewhere.
We know you. We know you. Let's wind this down. Please comment and even just share ideas of how you have managed to have safe, hard conversations with your family.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, today is a good day to start.
To start, yeah. I personally struggle.
Start.
So somehow.
As we talk.
You sema mliko.
Mabom.
Mko na family WhatsApp group?
Mingi.
Ati mingi.
Kuna watoi za parents, tuko na moja na mama na dada. Kila mtu like, tell you. Let me tell you.
No wonder you guys are so together.
Si ubonga. Na ni uchungu. But then sometimes it's painful.
But it helps.
And you feel so misunderstood and you feel everything, but you finish it and you go to something else.
Awesome.
God will help us all.
Good stuff.
We're not there. I'm not saying to Efika.
Good stuff.
But we are ready and we are willing to have hard conversations and break a lot of generational cycles that have been caused by quietness and anger and what's that thing you call bitterness? You know, when you keep things
Resentment.
offense.
Yes,
May God help us all.
Haina haja.
Mungu atatusaidia. We'll be back with another video, and this time we're
Wait
going
for
to
it.
talk about. Okay. So,
See you. Thanks for watching.
see you.
God
Thanks
bless.
for watching.